Have you ever noticed that the more you chase something, the further it seems to slip away? The more desperately you want a positive experience, the more elusive it becomes. It may seem counterintuitive, but this idea is at the core of what we call the backwards law. Wanting positive experiences is a negative experience, but accepting negative experiences can lead to positivity. Imagine this. You've set yourself a goal to become a successful entrepreneur. You're ready to put in all the hard work and dedication needed to achieve it. But along with that drive comes the constant awareness of how far you are from your goal. You feel the pressure. You see the gap between where you are and where you want to be, and that gap starts to affect your well-being and self-esteem. Sound familiar? This is where the backwards law steps in. The more you chase something, whether it's success, happiness, or love, the more you might end up feeling disappointed, stressed, or even unfulfilled. Epicurus, the ancient Greek philosopher, said it best. If you wish to be rich, do not add to your money, but subtract from your desire. The backwards law is closely associated with the wisdom of Eastern philosophies, particularly those of Zen Buddhism and Taoism. Alan Watts, a renowned philosopher and speaker, simplified this concept for Western audiences by stating, "The more you try to grasp something, the more it slips away." His message is clear. Sometimes, the harder we try to force outcomes, the less likely they are to happen. It's not about not trying or being lazy, it's about balance. When we're constantly pushing, striving, and obsessing over our goals, we become counterproductive. The energy becomes too forced, too rigid. Instead, there are moments in life when we need to step back and let things unfold naturally. But why does this happen? Let's break it down. We've been taught our whole lives that hard work and effort lead to success, right? But the truth is, overexerting yourself without room to breathe can lead to burnout, frustration, and a sense of failure. The backwards law reminds us that it's often in moments of letting go, when we stop obsessing, that we find peace and results. Take happiness, for example. We often believe that happiness comes from achieving specific goals or attaining material things. But if you're always chasing happiness, you're telling yourself that you don't have it now, which creates a sense of lack and frustration. Ironically, it's when we stop seeking happiness that it finds us. Happiness isn't something to be chased, it's something to be embraced in the present moment. Anxiety works the same way. Anxiety often comes from trying to control everything around us, our environment, emotions, and circumstances. The more we try to control, the more out of control we feel. But when we let go of trying to micromanage every detail, we create space for self-acceptance and peace of mind. What about wealth? The more you remind yourself that you want to be rich, the more inadequate you might feel, no matter how much money you actually have. True wealth isn't a number in a bank account, it's a state of mind. The less you chase wealth, the more open you become to opportunities that align with true abundance. And then there's love. When we focus on discovering ourselves, our values, and our passions, we create the perfect environment for love to flow into our lives. Instead of constantly seeking it, love appears naturally when we're in tune with who we truly are. Now you might be thinking, if we shouldn't constantly chase our desires, what's the alternative? The answer lies in self-awareness. The backwards law encourages us to stop chasing superficial goals and instead reflect on what we really want and why we want it. Ask yourself, what is driving my desire? Does it align with my core values? Is this pursuit bringing fulfillment or just stress? By taking the time to examine our deeper motivations, we can often find that the things we chase aren't what we truly need. We discover that fulfillment comes from aligning our desires with our values rather than with society's expectations. Philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer expanded on this by saying that humans are driven by an irrational, never-ending desire for more. We always want something new, something better, and this constant striving is the root of human suffering. He believed that the only way to escape this cycle is to detach from this endless will to want. Schopenhauer's message is clear. Chasing external pleasures will never fully satisfy us. The moment we attain one desire, a new one emerges, and the cycle repeats. The backwards law, then, is a reminder to stop getting caught up in this perpetual loop of dissatisfaction. But how can we apply this concept in real life? For starters, let's take affirmations. If you repeatedly tell yourself, I'm a millionaire, but deep down you don't believe it, it's not going to work. Your mind will resist it. Instead of focusing on the outcome, like wealth or success, shift your attention to the process. Celebrate small wins along the way, like every new opportunity, every small achievement. When you focus on the journey instead of the end goal, your mind becomes aligned with growth and success follows naturally. The flow state is another example. When we stop trying to force things and just be in the moment, we can achieve extraordinary results. Athletes, musicians, and artists know this feeling well. When they're not overthinking, but are fully immersed in what they're doing, everything falls into place. So here's the takeaway. Stop chasing, start accepting. Let go of the need to control everything and focus on being present. The more we let go of obsessing over outcomes, the more life tends to flow in our favor. As the philosopher Seneca wisely said, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future. The backwards law teaches us to release the grip we have on life, to stop clinging so tightly to our desires. When we do that, we make room for life to surprise us, to unfold in ways we never expected. Remember, the more you try to cling to something, the more it slips away. So, be present. Live in the now. By letting go, we find freedom. And in that freedom, we discover everything we truly need. If you found this message meaningful, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with others who need to hear this.